So today we will continue with our previous session. In the previous session, we were designing website for the salon. So in this session, what I'll do is I'll continue with the other pages. Last session, we designed the home page. Now what I'll do is I'll take the same structure. Some components, some modules were designed when I was designing the home page, right? So I will try to make sure, or I will try to reuse the existing components wherever possible and then create the additional new pages. Okay, so let's get started. Now what I'm designing is the service page, and I have used the components from the home page itself. And now depending upon the category, you might have additional information on this page. Now this one doesn't make sense having the location here. Expert, keeping this makes sense, right? Because people will feel confident, right? Once they see that, oh, they have like so many experts. So, so that might be helpful. So we can keep the additional information that can help or basically help to sell the services. Testimonials, if you want, you can keep it. If don't, it's fine. Or we can just have the testimonials and remove the experts. Fine. And media we can remove, and then we can have this common footer. So this is our one page, one category page, that is basically the service page. And now if I want to create a detail page, service detail page, and also rename the page service, let's call this as service detail or details. Now you can have this service name, some detail, and then intro copy into that to that particular service. Okay, and now you can play around with different styles and themes. Okay, so what you can do is you can have an image, a subheading, image, and some text, depending upon what you're planning to put or what content you have or you can write. Okay, and you can plan all these things after having discussion with the company, the boss, or whoever is managing the product. If you can put like multiple images, well, good. Okay, you can have heading, bullet points, or text in bullet points if you want to highlight something, or if you have some unique feature, you can create a new style or a template or a module. Like XYZ happy customers, something like that. Okay, if you can put some numbers, better. You should try and put, just in order to show that yes, you have successful clients or something else like in terms of technology. And if you can put testimonials, well, you should try and put, let's remove the testimonial from this because otherwise there will be too much of repetition. So we can have testimonial in the, so that is what you need to decide. Okay, you will have to decide basis the product or the website you're working on. And this only you will be able to decide once you have the understanding and once you have defined the storyline. Okay, now here what I've done is like I have first introduced the salon, then services, then about the founders, then where they are located, then who are the experts, and then the happy customers, and also they mentions in media or other similar kind of thing like okay, social media and also. And then what I've done is I have introduced the service, that's the category, and then the different kind of categories, and then also the experts again. Okay, reinforcing that yes, we have got good experts in our team. And then in the detail page, what I'm doing, I talked about the service, and then I tried presenting some numbers, and then here again happy customers. So it's your story. You need to convey and help the customer, like in deciding that yes, this is a good salon, and yes, we can trust them, and so on, right? And now once we have this, we can design one about us page. Let's design one about us page. So we can follow the same header, or we can change it, because this is about us. We can completely change this. Okay, so you can bring the, let's bring this one, the home one. About us. And instead of writing about us, so write good copy. Okay, we should use some good copy. We can have some good image as a background or somewhere like this, and then we can have introduction text, anything. Then we can talk about the leadership team. Okay, or we can talk about the mission and the vision, something like that. This could be one way, or you can change this and use this module. Okay, you can have an image and then vision depend. Okay, and then you can have your leadership team here. You can have leadership, something like this. Okay, leader name, and then designation. If this is a big company, okay, big salon. And we can also have joiners, something like this. Okay, and then here you can talk about different facilities or different benefits. Okay, like free medical, free XYZ. You can mention all these things here. Okay, and then you can have the common footer. So these are 4 pages, and then you can have a very interesting contact us page. Fine. I hope this is okay. Or should I make contact us also? Or should I get started with the hi-fi design? What do you think?
Start hi-fi design.
Yeah, fine. So let's get started with the hi-fi designs. Now see what I have done here. So when creating this, I defined different components. Okay, so this was one component or a module, and similarly I had like this main component, and it had like sub components, right? Like these were like sub components. Similarly, this is one component. So whenever you are doing designing or creating any page or so on, so first try to understand like what are the different components that you have used, and then try to reuse those components in the when designing other screens. Like if you must have seen here, like I've reused a lot of these components, right? Some of them were new, like this one was new because for the detail page the structure could be like something very unique and new, so there you can like create new components and new modules. But other places you should try and use the same. Like this one, see, I've used testimonials, same component. Similarly for the teams and leadership, I'm trying to use the same. And similarly for this founder one, I have used the same component and for mission and vision. Fine. So always try to reuse components if possible. If not, then yes, you should go ahead and like create a new component. Fine. So now let's get started, and I will now create hi-fi design.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Sir, how can we decide space between two components?
So always test. The best way to learn is one, yes, first you should go and observe, okay, like good designs on the internet. For example, like this is the website they have. Fine. So what I do is, or used to do earlier, like when I was learning, so I used to take print screen. Okay. So now this is what I've got. Okay, let's see. Let's download this. So this is what I got, right, as a screenshot. So what you can do is you can start looking at these these websites, okay, and check what is the spacing they have. Height is 75. Fine. So, and here what they have, 30. Fine. So see,
Yes.
different sections what they're keeping is 75. This is how much? 75. Fine. Here it's how
Yes.
much? 30. And now check here. After the text, what they're putting? This is 40. Fine. Now let's see whether they are following this or not. Okay. They're not following everywhere, but let's see here. Yeah, see here it's same because that's a new section, different section, right? Now you should take screenshot of different websites and keep testing and comparing and like what I did. So I went, checked spacing, and then you should also check the font size, like Fuse Startup Thinking. Okay. Now let's see what is the font size that they're using. What's the font size? 27. Could be like 26. Okay. And then also check the spacing between the lines. Now let's check the spacing. So this is good. So 26 and 40. So this is the spacing that they're using, right? So start doing this kind of evaluation. Basically go and check different web pages, websites, and compare this, write it down somewhere, and then see like how different spacing affecting the design and the appearance and the aesthetics. So start doing this, make it a practice, and then after some days you will learn that okay, so most of the designers they have used like 75 pixels between different sections, and then sub components is around like 40 pixels. So start doing this and make this as a practice, and you'll see that after some time you won't have to like think much. You'll automatically know how to do and what to do. But along with that, you should also always test your design. Okay. Now I will start making pixel perfect designs. This is what I have. Now let me remove all this. Four counts with this. So it's 1442. It's fine. So basically, I'll keep this as my columns, and the spacing between the two columns are like I think 40 pixels. So that's what I have kept. And now what I'll do is when I'm creating this, all my primary content, okay, the body content will always be within this 3 column. And but yes, some section could be floating.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
आपने ये ऐसा क्यों किया है ग्रिड का?
ग्रिड इसलिए किया है क्योंकि जब हम पेज बना रहे हैं, ठीक है, तो पेज बना रहे हैं तो हमें वो जो हमारा जो कंटेंट है वो स्ट्रक्चर्ड होना चाहिए, एक लेआउट के अंदर होना चाहिए, राइट? ऐसा नहीं है कि हमने कुछ कंटेंट कहीं और रख लिया, जैसे ये कंटेंट यहाँ रख लिया। तो बेसिकली एक स्ट्रक्चर देने के लिए, एक प्रॉपर स्ट्रक्चर के लिए, एक प्रॉपर फॉर्मेट के लिए, प्रॉपर अलाइनमेंट, स्पेसिंग, सब चीज़ों के लिए मैंने एक स्ट्रक्चर बना दिया, बेसिक फ्रेमवर्क बना दिया। तो नाउ आई विल ट्राई टू कीप एवरीथिंग विद इन दिस 3 कॉलम। अभी देखोगे समझ में आएगा।
Decide the distance between them.
So it sometimes it will depend upon like what you're designing. So that's why like whenever I design, first I do the sketching, and then after that I decide like okay, so इसमें मैं ये चार दिखाने हैं या 5 दिखाने हैं या 3 दिखाने हैं। तो जो वायरफ्रेम जब करते हैं ना, तब समझ में आता है कि अच्छा 3 हो सकते हैं, 4 हो सकते हैं। एक तो एक्सपीरियंस साथ में आपको आएगा, और दूसरा क्या है कि आपको यहाँ पे जब कंटेंट दिखा रहे हो, तो नाउ इफ योर स्ट्रक्चर इज like what I have here is like 140 पिक्सेल्स, 1440 पिक्सेल्स, 1440 पिक्सेल्स, ओके। तो उसके हिसाब से अगर मुझे 3 दिखाने हैं, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल लेट मी शो यू, अगर मुझे 3 दिखाने हैं तो 3 का क्या स्ट्रक्चर होगा, ऐसे होगा, राइट?
Yes.
तो ऐसे, तो अब ये जो है साइज, ये साइज सही है नहीं है, कंटेंट छोटा आ रहा है, कंटेंट कितना डाल रहे हो, उस बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स होते हैं जिससे कि आप डिसाइड करते हो। अब हो सकता है कि मैंने जो किया ये सही ना आए, सो आई माइट हैव टू गो बैक एंड लाइक iterate this and revise this, or basically change this from 3 column to 4 column. So that's why design को बोलते हैं कि like it's always an iterative process wherein like आप जैसे जैसे करते जाते हो आपको पता लगता है कि हाँ you're doing good or not, and then accordingly you make the changes. Fine.
Yeah, sir. Thank you.
बाकी we'll work on many things, so you'll learn, so don't worry about that. Let me show you, okay? तो ये पूरा मैथ्स है, कैलकुलेशन है, ठीक है? सो मान लो कि मैंने साइट बनाना है, आई एम मेकिंग साइट फॉर 1440 पिक्सेल्स, ओके। नाउ दिस इज बेसिकली total width. Now number of columns 8, okay, and the spacing between the two columns, for example, if you're taking it as 20 pixels, and this should be 1300, and this should be 162.5. So now how I got this? So spacing between two columns is how much? 20, and number of times, how many times this has been used, this columns or the spacing, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So 7 into 2 is how much? 140. So out of this 1440, I've already utilized 140. So how much is remaining for the working space? So that's basically 1300. So now this space has to be divided in 8 columns. So that's why how much do I have got, like the width of one column? That's 162.5. So that's why I need to put 162.5 here. So this is what I've got. You got it? The calculation, basic
Yes,
calculation?
sir. Yes, sir. But I have a follow-up question on the same. Like
Hmm.
you decided manually the spacing between the columns. That is to be decided manually. Like what do you suggest is the uh, correct spacing between these columns?
Again, it depends upon what you're working in project to project. Okay, some designs wherein you're planning to use a lot of white spaces and all. In that cases, you can keep 40. Again, depends upon the structure of your website, and also the layout, and also the font size, and also the style guide of your website. Okay.
Okay.
But generally, I keep 20, 30, sometimes 40 also.
So rather than like doing all this calculation, why aren't you taking the set sizes already, like the canvas of 1440 and 900 already?
We can keep it, but we can take it. Why not? We can take that also. Okay.
Like, does that
So
make any difference?
No, it
doing
doesn't.
this or taking that?
See, it's your process. You need to design and define that process. Okay. So you can follow an existing process, or you can set your basic rules, and then you can follow that and use that in your designs. Okay.
All right.
I have a doubt. Yeah, so I have a doubt here. I wanted to have a clarification here related to spacing because it is my problem. Actually, it was my problem, but I resolved it by using a sort of a pattern which I developed. I mean, sort of, I made it a regular a pattern for spacing between two tiles or two carousels or something like that. I made regularized that pattern, that spacing. So based on that, I wanted to ask you, what are your suggestions? I was going through an article which gave a rough idea about the 8 grid pattern, so which is basically for the app design. So I wanted to ask you, what are your views on that? And second thing that I wanted to ask you is, is there any similar pattern or something like that for the desktop version?
Okay, so see, I got it. Like, why you're facing these kind of problems and what is the confusion? So my suggestion is, first go and explore existing design systems. Okay. So since you have some confusion and all, so my suggestion is you should check your design systems. So now these are few of the design systems. Okay, like these are different companies. Okay, like Airbnb, Microsoft, Shopify. Now let's go and check Microsoft's design system.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's go and check Polaris. Material design, you must have heard about this, right? This is the most common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Android.
Yeah, by Google, right? So
Yeah.
my suggestion is you should go and read these design systems. Okay, at least 2 or 3. Now let's go and check the web part. When starting, what you should do is like you should download their kits. Now let's see. So firstly, the typography here. Okay, like what is the size of the biggest font size that they have? 68. And then start understanding like what is the pattern that they're following. 68, 42, 32, 28, 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, and 10. Right? So what is the gap here? Or see the gap between the page title and the biggest heading that they have. 28, 68. This is the pattern that they're following, right? Now start also checking different things like, okay, so for the different icons or font icons and all, they're following 12 pixels and 20 pixels. So different font size, but at different places. Now, what is this shadow structure or pattern that they're following? 64 is the depth, and MS, whatever they have, the values they have provided. Now start exploring these things, okay? Now check the buttons. Now, by going through this kind of documents, you can learn about it. When designing the experience and the interaction, you can have so many different states. You can learn from these things. Now, similarly, let's go and check the size of the text and other things, right? So what is the height that they have here? 30 pixels, but this, I think this is too small. We should have like 44, 50 pixels. This is one system that you're exploring here. Again, like once you're done with this system, okay, you should go and check other systems also. And then, like you should take the best from each system and then create your own design system. So that is what you should be doing. Okay, now let's see the breadcrumb. They have these breadcrumbs, fine, and the size of these icons. So what is the size and what is the frame or the spacing that they generally keep? Okay, so this is what they have. This is the size of how much? 28 by 20 pixels for the thumbnails. Nav bar. Let's see nav bar what they have. So this is the nav bar. This is the size of the nav bar. Size of the nav bar is 48 pixels, right? Now, what is this font size, the icon size that they are using here? Let's check this. 16 by 16. What is the font size of this? It's 10, yes. So go explore these things, and this will help you understand the spacing that's best for this kind of designs. Okay, this is one way. Read a lot of these design systems, and also go and explore and check like different websites. Let's check Airbnb what they're doing. Now check this. They have this components, right? So you should download this and read about it. Fine. And this will give you an insight, good insights about like what should be the font size, what is the best spacing, okay, what should be the size of the different icons or other kind of like components or the elements, that generally is used in the design. See this. This is one of the good one, right? See, we have everything defined here. What is the height of this? 48, right? So now whenever you're using or creating your any form, or height should be like 48 pixels. Similarly, if you're using any button, the button size is also 48 pixel, right? Like if you're using some components like this, then this, take the shadows from here. Like if there is some, design like this, some component like this, then you can use this kind of template. So basically, by exploring these design systems, you can learn a lot, and these will really help and make you a better designer. Okay, now understanding first the components, the size of this. Like now here they have like two fonts, right? Now one, what they have done, they've changed the color and kept it as uppercase, and the second section or second or subtext is basically what is normal font size. Now let's say the font size is 14, the other one is 12. But what they have done, they have made this or converted this into uppercase. Now let's check this website. So what is the height of this that they have kept? The height is 750. Okay, what is the size of this font? Font size is 32 pixels. Similarly, these sizes, these, and also start exploring the different kind of components or the structured components that they're using. Now this is 3 column, correct? This is 1 column. This is again like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 column. Again here they have like 1, 2, 3, 4 column. Here they have 1, 2, 6 column, 3 column. So what they're doing, they're not following one specific pattern. Just in order to make things interesting, so they have broken down into different styles, right? Different patterns. Now check another page, right? This is internal page. So here they have like three same components there that they had here. They've just repeated the same thing here. Similarly, they have this one and then the others, correct? And now they have introduced a new pattern here. Fine. I think this is the best way to learn. If you really want to learn and become very good in design, you should start exploring these different design systems and then start understanding like how the small components are made and how the small components actually is making the whole page.
Okay, I have one question, Manpreet. Like,
Yeah.
what if I want to study a website, but then the design system of that site is not available? Then in that
Perfect.
case, how can we study the website?
So the best way to do is, as I said earlier, so start taking print screens. What you should do is like you should go to this website, any websites. Okay, now for example, let's see Excel. Let's take the screenshot of this. And then once you have this screenshot, what you can do is you can take that to Figma and then check the values. Okay, so basically the height of different components, different spacing, the font sizes, and also different uh, treatments, right? So, when I was learning, what I used to do, I used to take these screenshots and then used to create different components. Like I had that time, like 50 different components, 50 different styles for headers, 15 different styles for the top navigation. So I used to go to different websites, take the screenshot, and then convert those into working files. And I used to keep it for my reference. So you have to do some homework to learn this, to master this design. Fine. For example, let me take the screenshot of this. Okay. One more thing. See, now this is what I'm seeing on a big screen. Now, if this website was viewed in a small screen, let's see like how it will look. So what you can do is on the Chrome, you can go to this inspect element, and then on the top you can select different devices. Okay. So now let me check this website on. I think like we are already on iPhone X. So this is how this will look on iPhone X. Okay. So this is what they have. So basically on the top menu becomes very simple. Okay. And this is the header. This is the image. Now this is how the design flows. Fine. So you can go and check these also. Now let me see iPad Pro. How will it look on iPad Pro? This is how it will look on iPad Pro. Fine. Now basically if someone is having a low end poor data connectivity or broadband, then this is how it will look. So when working on design, you should also take care of the usability and the accessibility. So this low end, throttling and offline. So basically how this design will look, you should think about that. We'll discuss about those things later, but this is also that we need to take into consideration. Fine.
Sir, what if we design for 1440 and the person using the screen has a 4K monitor or 5K monitor?
Yeah, so we'll take care of those things also. Okay, so there what we do is like we keep few things flexible. Either there are two ways. One is like making your design flexible, okay, liquid, or the other could be like making it fixed. Now let's see this one, Airbnb, what they're doing, and then we'll understand that how to tackle these things. Okay. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
So assume this is like 560 or like bigger screen, some bigger screens, 4K bigger screen, right? So this is how it will be visible on those screens. So what will happen? The core structure, the main structure will be like in the center, and the few of the elements could like spread from left to the right, like the menu on the top. Similarly, I think footer on the top. But footer again, what's happening is the color is liquid, the color background, right? Or that component, but the content is there like in the center of the screen. So again, you can define, and this is what we do when we convert the design into a responsive design. So we define the structure. We can define the viewport.
In that case, we have to make different design, is it?
Yeah, we do.
Right.
Yeah. So let me show you one more thing. Okay.
And I read somewhere like there is a way we define it. Like
yeah, we do. I'll show you just a minute. So check this. So the smallest size is what? 375. Fine. So the smallest size is 375, 414, and 360. So in this case, what I will do is I'll not design for 360, 414, and 365 for not for all. I can design only one for one. That could be like 375. So that could be one size. The second size could be, I think we don't have that here, something for the iPad, okay, or tablet, and that could be around like 768 or something like that. And then we can have the third one, and third one could be like 1440 that we are currently designing, and the fourth could be for 1920. So we can have like 4 designs, fine, and the fifth could be like for the anything above 1920.
We can
Yeah,
use auto layout.
we can use auto layout, but again, like you'll have to define the structure, right?
Yeah.
And also, like when converting from the normal website to responsive or like smaller screens and all, like the mobile and the tablet and all. So what we do is like we also need to define few things. Like, okay, so for example, if our page is very long, so do we have to show all the components? Okay, so all the different sections on mobile? Not necessary. So we can define that, and we can hide and show few of the not essential information. Menu, hamburger menu, right?
Yeah.
Now check here. So what's happening? Most of the things are missing, right? Or like
Yes.
hidden. So, but in order to improve the usability of this screen, what I will do as a designer, so along with this hamburger menu, I'll write menu. Okay. So currently, like since it's just an icon, so this is not good from the usability point. It's sometimes it becomes very difficult to show everything. Then you'll have to like put something or use something like this hamburger menu. But
Yeah.
how you can improve the usability and explain to the users who are not very much aware about this icon by adding label along with it. So this is one way you can. Right? The other could be again depending upon what you're designing. You can convert the menu category or the few of these into small icons. You know the like you have in this mobile apps. So you can have the scroll.
Okay, I have a thought here. So, like using font sometimes like makes the design very font heavy. So I think Google, like I want to ask you, does Google research all those aspects that whether the people know how to use a hamburger menu or a certain parts of section of websites? So that is why they have removed the text and they have just kept the icon. So all these things are done by companies or like how to make just like design less font heavy.
See, it's not about fonts, using fonts, not using fonts, having say icons, not having icons. It's sometimes some designs are design focused, some designs are usability focused, right? So, but if you want to become very good and like you have the perfect design, so perfect design, yeah, it will never happen. Like you'll never be able to get perfect design. But good design, then you need to take care about the design and the usability, the perfect balance. But now some designs are very text heavy, right? But again, they look so good, and some are like visual driven, okay, but they don't look nice. So again, it depends upon like how everything has been like clubbed together, brought together.
So like we can test those things that like whether people are getting to know are from design or we need to use text as well. So we can get to know all these things once we release.
And for that's the reason why we conduct this usability testing. Okay.
Sir?
So yeah, please.
Yeah. I just want to answer this thing what Shreya asked. Like, I think with the passage of time, we all are getting techno savvy. So there are some icons which we are automatically familiar with. So there is no point of putting that caption. So I think that is why they are trying to like shift their way of like putting things in place.
No, again, it depends upon your target audience also, right? So
Yeah, that's what. But in general, like as per the current scenario in general, most of us like approx I must say like 70-80% 80% approx people are using it.
No, again, it depends. Now this Accenture, who are the target audience? The people who are literate, who are working in different companies or like big companies, right? Corporates and all. But in case if you're creating a product for someone who's in the village, for there, like I'll add each and every label for each and every icon, small things I'll try to explain and guide the user, because he's not literate. He doesn't understand. He might not understand many things. So it depends upon the expertise of the end user. If an end user is very expert, then just a minute. If an end user is very expert, then in that case, what you'll do is you can avoid like these things. So you can simplify the design and make it smart. But other case, you should add like details. guiding the user. Yeah, Divangya.
So if we look at Google's like UI, so like everyone has a phone, and usually not everyone that has an Apple. They mostly work on Android, and Google is the one that like basically the phones run on Google, mostly Google and Android. So they are the one using Google, like they're interacting with Google much more, and so the users of Google are more, and hence they are in village area as well, and like in cities as well. Like they're almost everywhere around the world. So wouldn't that be like since the hamburger menu? So if we were talking about that, there was just an icon, and not most of the people would know about that icon itself. So
Yeah.
like, and Google has not added anything under that icon to specify what is the use of it.
Yeah, so I think like they should have added. If not added, there might be some research that they must have conducted, and basis that they might have dropped it. So I'm not aware of that research part of background work, okay, behind this. But yes, if I'm designing for someone like who's in village or like who's not that, then I'll for sure like add the menu label along with that. So that's why like whenever I'm designing any mobile app, also in the footer navigation or the quick links, I always try to add labels, because I have seen I've done a lot of this testing and all, and earlier I also used to like remove the labels and only used to have this icons. But after testing, I've realized that no, it's not the right way. Some people, they don't get like what that icon stands for. So it's always good to like provide them with the label, or those use the label with the icons. So that's why like whenever you're designing, so it's okay like every time when we'll design, we'll have confusion over a few elements, and it's very difficult to sometimes decide like whether this version is right or that version is right. So whenever stuck with these kind of things, the best approach, best thing to do is conduct the usability testing. Call the users, call them, conduct usability testing, and then see like what the whether the user were able to figure out and understand, and what is the feedback. And based on that feedback, do the iteration, change the design, and modify and improve. You getting it? So that's the best way. So whenever stuck anywhere, do testing.
Sir, plus I had a point like the hamburger menu for a thumb, it is a big stretch. So it is a big investment for a user. So is it better to place it at the bottom?
Yeah, but again, it depends whether you're creating a website or you're creating a mobile app. Okay. So now around the world, like on every website, where is the menu placed? Mostly on the top. So that's the mental model that everybody has, right? Like even if I'm not used XYZ website, but still I will have a basic mental. It depends. Basically, the mental model that I have. So I'll always assume that so if I have to find the menu, so that's the place. So I'll have to go and check on the top, right? And the footer means always like at the bottom of the page. So that's the mental model people have. So try to understand the mental model and then create the design. And when you do that, people are able to use your designs.
You can also fix it above.
Yeah, we can fix it above. Perfect. That's a good way. Yeah, we can have that fixed menu on the top, and that will automatically draw the attention of the user. When he's scrolling.
Yeah, so the user won't have to look it anywhere. Yes. It's already available on the top.
Yeah. So again, that's what I'm saying. Like everything depends upon your target user. If your target user is expert, then you don't need to like think about the basics, right? You can then have advanced features. But yes, if your target audience is not expert, then you need to like think about the basics first and then the advanced features.
Sir, I just want to ask, like there are different devices, like people use iPhone, different mobile devices, and the desktop version. So how we have to design the website for particular that suppose we will open on the PC. So there will be a different design view. On the mobile phone, there will be different. So we have to design differently because people do have different devices.
Correct.
So how we have to decide the design pattern?
Good. So,
sir, I had a follow-up question on this.
Yeah.
If the network is weak on some areas and our user are using it from there, so how we can design it that way that it loads fast?
Perfect. So that's the part of the accessibility, and I'll cover in the future sessions. Okay. That's about low data. Then in that case, what we generally do is like we also have an alternative version of the website, which is like mostly text based, okay, with no images and with only the necessary or the important information. So I'll discuss about those things in the future sessions. Okay, so that's basically the accessibility part. So once we are done with like UX, and so that will be at the end of the workshop. So I'll explain like how to take care of usability and the accessibility when designing the experiences and all. Okay, and now regarding this different screen size and the resolution and how to work keeping these things in mind. So first is basically understand what are the different resolutions that's there. Okay, so now see this. What I did, I just googled, like different resolution sizes. So now if you see here, there are a lot of different sizes.
Sir, so far, which is your favorite design system? Your favorite design system?
I like Airbnb a lot, and also this Shopify Polaris. This has set the foundation.
Okay.
Okay, so if you really want to understand the system, so this is what you need to learn and read and understand.
Okay.
And how I learned it, one, I went to this material design. This is one, and the other is like this one, Angular material.
Okay.
If you really want to learn how to use this material design, so this is the place. So go to the components and start exploring it.
Sir, can you just share these links?
I will do that.
Okay.
So now here the best thing is you also can understand the interaction. See this. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. So now check the interaction. Again, this one is autocomplete, filter autocomplete. Like, see what I'll do is one. So this is what's happening. This is one way. Now let's check this one. This is display value autocomplete, MARY. I don't know what is the difference, so we'll have to figure out. I'll have to read that. You can learn a lot by just going through these components. Okay, what is batch? Batch is something like this, right? So there are different ways, like we have in the notification. So this is batch. Okay, now what are the font sizes? You can go and check these. You can learn about it. Okay, so here it's mostly about the interaction and the size also. Let me see the size. Badge has 3 sizes: small, medium, and large. So this is mostly from the development point, but again, you can learn a lot about interaction. Like bottom sheet. Like check this. Okay, you can follow this. Like these are the different button size, right? Basic, raised, stroked. So this is basically ghost icon, ghost button. This is fab, mini fab. Similarly, button toggle. You see this? So I suggest you should read this. This is a card design. Checkbox. This is how the disabled looks. Chips. These are the chips. You can delete it. Fine. If you are working on something where you need multiple information to work as filter for something, like you can do something like this. Like, okay. ABBLE, Apple new. You see this? So this is how the chips work. So you can learn from this and use in your designs. Like date picker, people get confused a lot when working on this component, date picker. So one is like when selecting only one date, when selecting range of dates, right? 2 dates. So how to use it? This is 1 date. This is fine. How to put it? Like what should the label size? You can learn a lot from here. Similarly, if there's a date range, I don't know. They don't have. Yeah, date range is here. See this. So I selected this and then I select this. Now check this. You see? So how to use, very easy to understand. This is how you can change the year, then the month, how the dialog works, how to create this, select. Thing is there. You just need to go and explore. But yes, before exploring this, you should first read material design.